It is a fundamental core skill of the game that we practice as much as anything else.
You don't realise how important it is until it's going wrong.
It's an equal importance for me as scrum, or nearly.
You really do need a good line out, otherwise you're going to get a lot of pressure. You won't be able to get out of your half, you won't be able to put pressure on them. It's kind of like a scrum where there's no get out, you've got to win it, or you're going to be in trouble.
So if you've got a weak line out, teams will target that, they'll put the ball off the pitch and look to turn you over there. I remember when I first started playing, I used to dread the ball going off the pitch because I knew that my line out was a weakness and I was likely to turn the ball over. And through repetition and experience, I've seemed to got kind of more confident and better with time.
You get opportunities to put pressure on them. Say we get a penalty, we kick it into their 22. If you can't win that ball, the pressure's off them again. So it's a crucial part of the game and very important to get right.
South Africa, a couple of years ago in the Auckland series, gave us nearly 20 lineouts. It was a wet day. We had a young hooker throwing the ball in, and they sniffed out a weakness there. But you play against Wales, and they'll give you 6 lineouts because they want to keep the ball in play. So you've got to be ready for any scenario.
First and foremost, you've got to kind of back yourself and your players. You've got to do your research beforehand, make sure you know to the best of your ability what they're going to do in terms of defence, and then plan your game plan around that and plan your line-out calls around that, and then just go through with it.
It's very often within a line-out, you're always going to have one option open, whether it's front, middle or back, because the defensive line-out can only mark 2 options usually. So if they're worried about our backs playing, they'll probably take away the tail, they'll put a pod there, and they'll probably take away the middle and force us to throw the front. That's often where you see a lot of movement, sometimes 3 kind of, we call them bumps, people like bumping in and out the line out and ending up back at the tail. So we try and do dummies to create space elsewhere.
As we showed against Argentina and New Zealand, we like to drive lineouts as well. And as I say, you've got to be able to come against teams who'll give you 6 lineouts, or some teams will give you 20 lineouts. You've got to have that in your armoury.
They're good callers, and I trust their call, and that's often why our line-out's so good, because the call's usually good.
I've always been good at remembering the calls and working out a strategy to break down their defence kind of thing. And then it's just kind of remembering and trying to assess the situation and most importantly not panicking really and taking your time over.
Yeah, you always look at opposition line-out. For me, I look at the opposition defensive line-out, so I have to know what calls are going to be called, where the space is, what type of throw I'm going to have to throw.
You'll get a feel of what game the opposition are trying to play. I mean, the French drive a lot, so we've got to be ready for that. But essentially, you don't want the opposition to have free ball. It's like a breakdown. You don't want to have too quick a speed of ball. So we want to challenge the opposition line-out. But we don't want to get tangled up in that for too long. If they're mauling, because they may break out of it very quickly and catch us somewhere else. That's an art to defensive line. It's getting up in the air quickly.
Laws takes some dynamic line out there.
Maybe 3 of the 4 working days in the week we'll be doing line-outs within training, so I get a chance to get my eye in there, and then I'll probably on my day off do 1 session by myself with a little bit of target practice in the marquee up there.
We have the line-out callers as a small group. They love a line-out, they do, and I'm there to govern how much we're doing and making sure that we actually drill the things in training that we're going to use on a Saturday. Some guys are into it more than others, but I'm fortunate that I've got 3 or 4 guys here who are very accomplished in calling lineouts and are very good in sharing that information with the rest of the team.
I suppose homework-wise, we probably did about 4 hours yesterday. You put a lot of hours into it.
Is it true that Ben Kay used to try and learn Afrikaans to try and crack the codes? Is that true, and is it that level of detail that's gone into?
I was there in that game.
You teaching him Afrikaans, right?
I teaching him Afrikaans. That's the lengths people will go to try and crack codes. I mean, we have a line-out calling structure, but a lot of it is called away from the line-out. So, because we're aware we're on telly and it's very audible, so you try and call away from the line-out. When you get into the line-out, a lot of minimal noises and calls, so to speak, and just get on with it.
I'm not too fussed in terms of trying to figure out the calls of the opposition, know what they like to do, and then try and interrupt that.
You find some trends and things like that, and you look for signals. A lot of line-out callers walk in with their hands and their hips and things like that, and often that means something, or there's a lot of eye, nodding movements and things like that. So there's lots of little tricks of the trade, but if you try and cover too much, you end up chasing shadows. So it's often safe to say, let's just put a pod up the middle and the front, and give them the tail, or vice versa. So no, analysis is good, but if you do too much, it's sometimes you can overcomplicate it.